Hello everyone, Deanna here, and thanks so much for being here. So it is the end of the month of November 2022. So I'm going to be going ahead and doing a reading wrap up for this month and a little bit of a walkthrough of my reading journal for the month of November. So November is a pretty special month for me as it is my birthday month, so it was very much a chill kind of vibe going on. Very much wanted to just relax and have a very nice kind of low energy, not too much commitment kind of month. So I only ended up reading a handful of books, and I very much use some craft paper to kind of create these pieces here, and use some stickers that I got from Etsy, like this little cat sleeping on a pile of books, and you know, this that I work to support my reading addiction, and I like big books and I cannot lie. So that very much just, I love how this turned out. I think it's one of my favorite cover pages for my reading journal so far, because I just love all the colors together and just how well it looks, and just how it just screams kind of what I probably look like when I'm reading a book. So I'm going to go ahead and go through what books I read this month. So let's reveal. I read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. So that was on my TBR for October, and I finally got to it for November. And then I've got Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing by Matthew Perry. And finally, my book club book was The Library of the Dead by T.L. Hashu. So there we go. And I did forget to write book club, so I'm gonna go ahead and put that in right now. Put a little bracket and put book club. There we go. So there we are. So this is the books that I've read. So I didn't read a lot this month, but let's kind of go through what I did for all of those books. So we've got, first, before I even get into that, I felt like I wanted to do something a little fun. I knew it was going to be a very low reading month, so I just wasn't putting any pressure on any books to read, and I was kind of focusing on some other things. We had some things going on. It was a pretty busy month, so I ended up going ahead and creating a 5 stars read spread, which is just essentially the library here that you can see, that some the bookshelf that some are in some reading journals. So I created a bookshelf here just using markers and things like that. I used a lot of like midliners to color in and things like that. So I had like some, what the different colors mean of the different types of books that I read, that I ended up rating 5 stars. So this is craft paper again with like that. Well, I really love that craft paper pack, which is this book lover junk journal. Like, this is just filled with so many wonderful little things here, you know, just different pictures and things that we can use to go ahead and like fill this up. So I love it so much that there's always something that I find that I really love, and it just really fit with the November theme to keep it all that type of style of like the color scheme and everything. So I really love it. And then I just wrote out 5 stars with a marker and then like colored it in with a mild liner. So this is what I had of all of my 5 reads for this year so far. And you know, there's quite a few here, like the Quill Prince series. We've got a couple like you know, nonfiction like Diary of a Young Girl, Diary of Anne Frank, and we've got some kind of historical fiction going on represented. Got a little bit of mystery. So really there's just like so much going on here. We've got fantasy, drama, adventure. The only one I really don't have on here, I would say, would be like horror or thriller. I'm not really much of a horror or thriller reader lately. I really used to be when I was younger. Really got into like a Stephen King kind of reading era, and just some other like kind of spooky, like Nightmare on Elm Street, I believe, was one that I read. Or no, it's Fear Street. I read the Fear Street series was one. There was quite a few different horror. I mean, when I was little, as much as you can call them horror, I was into like the Goosebumps and everything like that. So I feel like I very much read a lot of thriller and horror when I was younger, and now that I'm a little older, I'm just, maybe my just heart can't take it. Maybe there's too much going on in the world that sometimes reading horror just freaks me out too much. So I'm not as big of a reader of it lately, but I do love some romance, some historical fiction, probably some of my favorites, some fantasy, drama, a little bit of adventure. Mystery I only have two, or I actually have three, but they're honestly just not usually my favorite, so I'm kind of surprised I've got a few on here. But yeah, this is my bookshelf of my different 5-star reads that I wanted to portray in my November, because it's my birthday month and I just wanted to show off what my favorites were. So I very much wanted to represent, you know, the books that I had loved throughout this year, just to kind of play tribute to some of what I love and what I enjoy. So then after that, we got into The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. So I once again used craft paper. This was from a different craft paper pack that I have from the dollar store that is like kind of Elizabethan era, I would say, almost, or something along that line. It may even be more Victorian era, actually. Yeah, it's kind of between that era. Just kind of gives like an older kind of vibe, like early 1900s or before. So then I also had this from that Book Lover craft paper pack that I showed, and I just really liked this because I liked how it was covering her face and you couldn't see her face, and then it had like the brown hair, because that is very much how Addie is described in the book, is having the brown hair, and then like no one can ever really remember her face. Her face is really never something that is able to be captured, so I just thought that that was very fitting for that, with like the forest too. Like, yeah, I really thought that kind of screamed like Addie LaRue, and then I just did like my hand lettering there and just made some points about what I kind of thought. I used this paper too because Addie lives throughout like 300 years of history. I mean, in some ways I could almost have done more, but I feel like we didn't really see her live through adventures as much. That was one of my critiques. I have a whole video that I did on my thoughts on The Invisible Life, but overall I did really love it. I did love the story and just getting into the world of Addie and who she is, and her trying to make some type of connection. So I really did enjoy that part of it, and the character of her and Henry, and that going on. So that was one of my favorite books that I read this month. That was actually probably my favorite book. I only read 3, so that was my favorite book that I read this month. I did give it 5 stars and I absolutely loved it, and I do enjoy how this turned out. I think it gave me some room for writing some of my thoughts, but then also like let me kind of capture some elements of Addie. And then we go on to the next book that I read, which was Matthew Perry, Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing, which I had a lot of fun making this page because I used some of my stickers that I had here for the lettering, and then I used my own hand lettering here with my, you know, my pen here, my Tombow that I use for hand lettering. So I did that. I had some craft paper that I used, some that was just like the craft kind of color, like that craft style, and then some from the actual book that I have. And then I used some stickers for like hearts and things, and some like sayings like "you are enough," because that was something he struggled with throughout his whole memoir, was whether he was enough or not. And then also the gratitude as well, my little audiobook symbol because I read it by audiobook. And then I had some stickers that I have from a Friends pack because I am a Friends fan, so that's why it's kind of another big deal of just having Matthew Perry's books have its own little spread here. And so I used those stickers for pictures of where, you know, Matthew Perry was part of that scene, and I just love it, especially when, you know, it's could I be wearing any more clothes? Like that is Chandler Bing, and Matthew Perry talks about that so much throughout his memoir that I thought it was just very, very fitting. So I gave this memoir 5 stars. Getting into it, I was a little hesitant, but as it went on, I think I enjoyed it more and more as the story, as he kind of told us more of what he was going through and his situation, and as his tone shifted a bit and it came across that maybe he softened his tone a bit, I think is where I kind of was able to enjoy it more. When he was really hard and just bitter sound in the beginning, it just made it not as enjoyable sometimes. But you know what, I got through. I ended up actually really appreciating the book. I have a whole nother video for this book as well, and overall it was just a enlightening read, I would say. It was something where it really illuminated a lot of what Matthew Perry, kind of the struggles that he had, and he made some good points here and there on some of the things he went through. So definitely check out that video if you're interested, and check out his memoir if you kind of want to more information on that. It's definitely more about his struggle with the big terrible thing than anything else. So then we get into the last book that I read, which also is just the last page here. I only gave it a little section here. I didn't really give it its own spread. And that was T.L. Hachu, The Library of the Dead. So I did read this one. I'm going to go ahead and have a video up at some point for this one. I haven't recorded it yet, but I'll go ahead and do my review of that one. Didn't love it 100%. I thought I was going to love it more than I did, but it is the first in a series, so it could just be that there's so much groundwork being laid that sometimes that's a lot of like info dumping going on. So we will see. I will look forward to trying to get the next in the series and kind of seeing where the story goes. But I did read this. It was a book club read, so I did pick this one as the book club. And then we also had another book club read for the month, because we always get between 2 books that we get to choose. So I chose this as the main book that I was going to read. Then I also chose to read this one because I started reading the inserts, because I sometimes do that. I'll try to read to see what they look like, and I really liked this one too. So I thought, oh, this one's going to be a fun one of like a quick, easy read, and then this one will be like a little more like hearty a bit, I felt like. And because especially since the subject matters, you know, it's about World War II and like being a spy in World War II, so I do love my historical fictions. So I thought, oh, that might be enjoyable to read this, and so I did buy them both. And then I read this one. I gave this one 3 stars. I'll do a video to get into more of why I gave it 3 stars. And this one I'm currently reading and really enjoying so far. So this is going to be my currently reading pile for December. Because we are now end of November, so I got no more time in November to read that. But there we go. So that was the book club book that I read. And this is how I kind of ended out the month, is the Library of the Dead, and just having some blurbs about that, and then my little TBR of all the books that I'm kind of either already started, like Secret Stealers and Becoming, but Michelle Obama, and then there's like ones, like I think all of these are pretty much ones that I have already started, and then I have one that I'm very, very looking forward to. I want to start right away, but I want to finish the Secret Stealers at least before I get into The Choice by Nora Roberts, because that is the finale of a trilogy that I have been reading, and it finally got released on November 22nd, so I'm very much waiting to read that. I have it. It's in my room on my nightstand so that when I'm done Secret Stealers, I pick it up and start reading it. But then I just loved ending it with this. So this is the end of November, and it's like my world and just her sitting surrounded by like books, which is just a book lover's dream. And I just kind of love how it's just sitting like that, especially even the way she's kind of facing to. I just thought it was such like a good closer for the end of November. So that's it. That was all I had for November. Just a very short month, very, very short amount of books that I read, just 3 of them, and then a couple extra little bits to kind of show some of my love of my books still and the books that I have read and enjoyed. And that's it. I haven't even started on December yet, so I don't have my December sneak peek yet, but you know, keep posted, you know, check back hopefully the end of December and you'll see my recap of my December reads. But that's going to be it for me. That was all I had for this month. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Let me know if you liked the video and liked my journal. I love showing it off. I love doing it, even just sometimes just sitting and doing it while I'm, you know, maybe in a meeting and I'm just kind of like putting some of the things down so that I can like listen to what they're saying, but like put stickers down and stuff like that. Like sometimes I do have fun doing that, or sometimes I just have fun doing it for a moment where it's just me and I just get to sit in front of my journal and just have some fun with it. So let me know if you've got a reading journal and anything that you might like, and from this entry that you might incorporate into yours. Love to hear it. So I'm gonna go. That's gonna be it for me. I appreciate you watching. Have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, night, evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Thank you so much for being here. Take care of yourself, and you will see me next time. Bye!